to have Korean suppers and oh, we had sort of had lessons on what to do with children, but I don't remember any of the lessons. No, don't remember the
I
lessons.
remember Sam Allen going to stand up and walk up something.
Sam Allen, which one's he?
He was the father of all those Allen kids.
They lived out in that old house?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That 100-year-old house or something, yeah. Junkie and everything.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Chicken manure up the steps.
No,
Chicken manure up the steps?
for heaven's sakes.
On camera. We didn't have to take that the way it was when you went there.
Where is old Sam Allen? Is he dead?
Yeah.
Ain't gonna make no difference to him then.
But it might be these kids, they still live
They're not
around.
watching this.
Huh?
Sam Allen, the kids aren't watching
I
this.
know, but you never know what shows up in your lifetime.
Well,
Or
Okay.
after.
I remember when we were about that age, I think is the time we had the big snow and John Ferguson and Jack White was out at our house.
Yes, I remember that too. And the only heat we had was the fireplace, and I cooked in the old iron kettle.
How many days?
Well, I think it must have been about 2.5 days.
Before they could go home?
Uh-huh.
Because I think Dad took them out on a tractor or something to get them home or
I
something.
don't know.
Well, no, I think his family family got there to get him. I think so, or someone did, but John cried. And,
Ferguson.
you know, Grandma was living with us then, Grandma Davis, and she was sleeping upstairs in that little room to the left. And then we had the room right ahead of the stairway. That was sort of a TV room up there. And that's where I put all of you kids on the floor in that room because the heat from the fireplace would go up there. And there was John and Jack, and then all the three boys all sleeping on the floor, and Grandma, her door was open. And then that was all the heat we had in the house.
Is that right?
And then we
See,
fired that fireplace like that.
Didn't you have a coal stove though? Wasn't that a coal-fired furnace down below?
Oh, well, yeah, I don't know.
No, it was converted to oil.
You
It was
converted
oil.
it, didn't you?
Okay,
That's
it was
right.
oil.
Yeah, when we first moved in, it was a coal furnace, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Yeah.
That probably was.
Yeah.
And then
What,
I singed my brows cooking that stuff in that kettle, and we didn't have any water, so we was bringing the water from outside, snow, and melting it. Well, then I wanted it all sterilized, so we boiled it before we drank it. And we did have a bunch of orange juice in the freezer, and that was something that we drank. But that was kind of a problem, having something for everybody to eat and a place to sleep. And,
It's a really nice try.
I thought it was a big adventure.
oh, you did? I don't remember.
Seemed like we were out there more than 2 days. I thought there was times where we got stuck on the farm for a week without them getting in.
I don't know. I don't remember
It
that.
seemed like that flu sort of when we lived in that house, did it? I know it's 1 or 2 houses we did. You know, every so often flues would burn out. You always wondered if they'd find a hole to get through and burn the house.
Yeah. I don't
It
remember.
seems like it's done that once. I don't know if the kids are there.
So what do you remember about the house? I remember it was that big 2-story brick. I really liked it. It was had a little front porch nice front porch on it, and a nice kind of the kitchen was okay. Nice dining room with the fireplace, right?
No, the fireplace was in that middle room, kind of a living room.
Yeah, I thought we had a dining room table in there.
Well, we may have sometime, but most of the time, I think we had that,
Back in
the
that,
big room.
back behind the kitchen.
It was, right across from the kitchen.
You did there sometimes, and sometimes that was a TV room.
Now, that's what it was.
Yeah. times that was the TV room.
That was
Because
most,
I remember sitting in that room specifically watching I Love Lucy with Dad. Remember watching I Love Lucy, Dad?
Yep.
And I remember at least once laughing so hard I fell off the couch.
I don't remember that.
oh dear, well, she was funny enough to fall off the couch.
I also remember, of course, Mom just loved to sew and cook and take us kids everywhere. But I remember there was times where we literally had to take a little scoop shovel and scoop out the living room so we could walk through.
That's right, because you kids never picked up anything and put anything away. I absolutely had to just,
I know a lot of times I'd be working hard all day and come in, supper ready? Oh, is it time for supper?
I didn't do that.
You did too. You'd say, oh, is it time?
Dear.
So what have you been doing all that time, Mom?
Probably getting a lesson ready for Cub Scouts,
Yeah.
you know. And every time that you go to school, before we had Cub Scouts, you'd say, Mom, now you be sure and have this house cleaned up. Here I had to clean up the house, I had to get the lesson ready for the Cub Scout meeting, and I had to make cookies to feed them. All those kids would come in there.
Well, that takes us up to 1980, John.
Yeah, there we are.
We did that all the time, didn't
Yes.
we? I remember, so who was in the Cub Scouts with us?
Okay, there's Dick Sheets, and the...
Holliker?
Yeah, Holliker. And then the kid over there where Grice's used to live, Huckleberry.
Yeah, maybe.
The Huckleberry kid.
Yeah.
And...
They were all just
neighbors.
That was Huckleberry Finn's brother.
I remember that Huckleberries down there, the house burned down that one time. I remember when they bragged about how their dad made $100 a week.
Well,
But that was good money back
yes, it
then,
was.
probably.
Yeah, it was.
What'd he do?
I don't remember what he did, but he made $100 a week, whatever it was.
I don't remember what he did either.
What'd you think about old Cliff out there, Dad?
Cliff.
Yeah.
Well, I always liked Cliff. He was a good worker when, as far as I know. When we go on a vacation, I don't want to always trust everything he said and done.
Is that right?
But when I was around, why,
Pretty good hard hand.
yeah, he was all right. I think he's probably one of the best ones I had.
Oh, that he was. That's Smith. What kind of hard hand was he?
Oh, he was all right, but he was a hard worker too. You had to think about his older son Hard being out there. Didn't care much about some of the trash he brought out there.
Mm.
That's all,
I often wonder where those people's children are. I think that they kind of still live around Frankfurt.
Really? Probably working in factories or something, maybe.
You know.
Okay, so we were at Jefferson High School until I was in the 7th grade, which would have been, how old are as a person in 7th grade? Jason, you know how old a 7th grader is?
Well, at 60, you're 12 years old.
Well, I know, but I'm trying to figure out when we left. I'm just trying to place it. How old is a 7th grader? How old?
12 years old.
12 years old? Okay. So we went to Clinton Prairie about 1960 then. And I just remember going to dance. When I was in the 7th and 8th grade, you know, that's when I first started getting my mopeds and stuff like that. And I remember going to dances in the summertime and at Clinton Prairie and ball games there and stuff. But I really don't remember heavily until.
Well, I had to take you to Lafayette for your clarinet lessons the other week.
I forgot about that.
And that man that gave you clarinet lessons, he still is around Lafayette. And he's he was a teacher
Mm-hmm.
in the Lafayette school system. He's retired from that now, but he has always stayed in the music
I
business.
gotta go check my supper.
Okay.
And he was.
You don't need me on here right now.
He was really an accomplished musician.
Was he?
Uh-huh.
See, I took clarinet lessons from, I don't even know what he looked like. I can't even remember that. hardly. I remember taking them at somebody from Lafayette. I remember Steve taking trumpet lessons, or Mike, or.
Mike did, he took trumpet, I mean, cornet.
And I kind of remember piano lessons one summer or something in Mulberry.
Yeah, well, Steve was the one that took mostly the piano lessons. And he wanted to take piano lessons. And then,
What do you want to take piano lessons for?
well, he just wanted to. He just made up his mind he wanted to play the piano.
Do you get mad about it?
Well, one time he was back there in the back seat of the car, and he was pounding on the back seat, and he says, he'd ask me time and time again to go get him a teacher, and I'd say, okay, and then forget about it. Well, he got disgusted, and he was pounding the back seat of the car. You're always saying you're gonna go get me a teacher. Now, you never will. I said, okay, I will right now. And so we drove out to this teacher's house, and I scheduled him for piano lessons. And I reckon that's the only way I would ever got around. to
Did he
getting-
enjoy it? Did he like it?
As far as I know, yeah, and he played,
I just can't remember anybody wanting piano lessons. I can remember you making me go to piano lessons.
well, when Steve wanted to take piano lessons. And one time I dressed him up in a little, coat and a tie and white shirt and everything, and he went up and, it was a program of Christmas, and he marched over there to his piano, and he sat down and he adjusted himself just like a maestro would, played his piano.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh, he was so cute. He was so cute.
I just don't remember that at all. I remember taking piano lessons, but I don't remember Steve and Mike.
Mhm. Mike took he took piano lessons too. And Mike, for a long time, he did kind of remember a little bit about it. He still has got the piano. He don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
They're, the piano has kind of deteriorated and people have been interested in playing the
Cold
piano.
edition?
And then,
So it's getting dark outside. We're gonna get some rain, maybe, huh?
so, I don't know, I guess. Then we had Betty Jane in '62, and I went to work. She wasn't very old when I started working.
How did you? Okay, I guess you wanted us to babysit her a little bit. How did you decide you wanted to work after she was born and not before she was born?
I don't know, I guess we just,
Needing money or anything? Or?
well, I think that there was a shortage of money right about that time, sometime up in there. See, every so often we'd have bad years. All I know is that this lady, Eileen Wolfington, she had a daughter that was going to college and she wanted to make some money. So she heard that I wanted a babysitter, and I didn't even know that I wanted a babysitter. But she called me and asked me. I said, oh gee, I hadn't even thought about it, but I might like to work because she was so qualified. She'd had training in about taking care of babies. So we made arrangements and I started working, and I worked in surgery at that time. Now what you gonna do with all that?
Pay attention to me. You just keep talking.
So then, that was the summer that I didn't go on the trip. And then the next summer was the summer that you guys was going again without me. And I said, I'm going.
Now, why didn't you go on the trip?
Well, because I didn't have a holiday,
Vacation.
vacation
Oh,
time,
okay.
I guess.
Dad felt like taking a vacation, and you didn't have any vacation.
I didn't have any vacation time.
Okay.
And so that was it. Then the next year, I had such a time with them up there at the hospital. The girls that worked with me said that they'd cover, and for me to go ahead and go. Well, Keith, he couldn't understand why I wanted to take a baby on the, and Betty Jane was a year, a little more than a year old, and I said, well, if I go, she's going. So it turned out the day before we were supposed to go, I started washing her clothes and my clothes, and I said, I'm going. And that morning we left, I called up the director of nurses and said, I'm going. Yeah, all right. I guess. And so then, when I got back, I didn't have any job.
There, hey, when was
And
that?
I was so mad at him, I could kill him.
What year was that? About 64 or 5?
No, that was more like about 63,
Yeah.
or maybe coaching
So
64.
then, you didn't work for a while then, or what?
No, I didn't work for a few months. And then I went down to Lafayette and took a class, a refresher course. And then I started working at the Hope Hospital that summer. And I worked there then up through after the storm. And then after the storm, I just got some food, wore out.
You was on school board then,
Yeah.
going to school board meeting.
And that's when you started your Tupperware and all that other stuff too.
Yeah, that must have been after that. And then,
Mary Kay.
Mary Kay.
well, Mary Kay come a long time after that.
That's now, that's what I remember.
Dad, just talk about the farm, and maybe the one of the reasons she went to work because of money or something. What do you remember about the farm? I remember you said when you got that Packard back in, what, 52 or something? Or so, you must have had a good year or two or something. And you bought that Packard. Do you remember which years were real good and which years were just fair, or
I
what?
don't remember anything. It seemed like we won the car, we always managed to get one.
Yeah.
We always, I don't know.
I mean, really, when I was growing up, I felt wealthy almost.
Well, there was people that had that impression.
Because,
It seemed like farmers were in judgment. I mean, other people,
thought farmers were kind of well off.
yes,
Yeah. And later on I always heard how we weren't particularly, because or mainly Dad was worried about owing so much money. Was
Yeah,
always what I
yeah,
heard.
we always could borrow money, see?
Yeah,
And that's the reason it looked like we was wealthy, because we always had money to spend.
yeah,
And we did pay our bills every year.
yeah,
We did pay for the money,
yeah. Well,
but then.
I just always felt, somewhat well off because, we had a big house, we had a hired hand.
Yes.
I always thought, well, he's the poor one,
Oh,
or poorer,
Yeah, I guess that was.
And I always thought, some of the people, even when I was in high school, like Gary Bragg, his dad, and they lived, although they had a nice house,
Yeah.
it was a new home, it was small,
They
and,
had, they had an income all the
yeah,
time.
yeah. But where we had a big house and we're farmers, and I just wondered, what do you remember feeling better about certain years than others, or?
Yeah, some years you made more money than others, but of course I don't know what years would,
That's noise, Jason.
Oh. Oh.
It's a dryer on my shirts, I don't want.
Yeah, it just rang.
I don't want my shirts all wrinkly.
You didn't hear that?
You excuse me here in the show, I'm going to check the laundry.
Okay. You go check the laundry. I think we've about run out of stories, really.
No, we have not. Keep thinking here.
Keep thinking.
Yeah, I've thought of 2 or 3 things that every time I think of something, you talk about it in a while.
Yeah.
Tell me, what about Mike? Say something about Mike. I mean, those early years. What did
Well, he was always just following you kids around. One time we lost him, and I thought sure we'd lost him out in the cornfield. I never had such a scary situation. We could not find that kid.
Okay.
And we just looked everywhere. And I could just, the corn was real tall.
I mean, how did you get out there? Or what?
I don't know. I don't
I mean,
think.
you just all of a sudden around the house, he wasn't there?
And he wasn't there, you know, we couldn't find him.
So you figured he was in the cornfield?
Well, after looking everywhere, I didn't know where else to think that he could be.
I don't remember that at all, so where was he?
I don't remember really where he was. But he showed up. I mean, I was just frantic. And, but I can't remember where he was. I
How
don't
old
know
was
whether he remembers. Well, it was before he went to school.
4 or 5, 3, 4, 4 or 5?
4 or 5.
Yeah. I don't remember that at
So
all.
he must have been in a hog barn or someplace. But he just followed you and Steve around and
I remember we used to ride bicycles, and he probably was riding tricycles, and he used to go up and down, across the road and down the lane, back in the woods, and I remember the blow up swimming pools in the backyard.
yeah, we had fun with that. Donna would come out with, Donald would come out and help the dad farm sometimes. And then especially in the spring, when it was real busy. And Donna, she would come with me, because Anna Mae worked. And then we, let's see, then Sarah come. Gertrude would have to go, see, she had beauty shop in Terre Haute, she had a beauty shop in Frankfurt. It seemed like she had another beauty shop and she'd have to go manage them.
She had other women working on it. I didn't know that. I just remember working on her at her house.
Yeah, no, she had beauty shops in like in Frankfurt, and I think it was Terre Haute, and maybe there was someplace else. But that time, see, her husband was dead and she was having dates too, and so Sarah would come and stay with us, and maybe she'd go on a trip or something. But Sarah has really, really good memories of when she would come to our house. She just had so much fun with you kids.
I don't, I just remember her there, and I remember playing and everything, but maybe she remembered better. It'd be interesting if she was here to help remember it, because I just remember her and the pool and her. And I remember from pictures a lot of stuff too. See,
I know there's something that I tell Mike, and he says, "Oh, that wasn't right." Now, when Mike was playing baseball, they had him catching baseballs. He was playing part of a catcher, and I thought he just did real good. He'd just get right down there behind that catching net and work so hard at it. And gosh, he was a little guy. But then I don't remember exactly what happened. I know that he was throwing a ball at him once, and he got hit in the face,
Yeah.
and I think that's what ended.
Oh, really?
That kind of scared him.
Yeah, well, I remember when that happened. I felt real bad about it, but I still remember it real well, because I was playing with him, and I was trying to get him to, I was, just playing, like a big brother would, kind of mean. I was throwing easy, and all of a sudden I reared back, threw a real fastball, and he missed it and hit him right in the eye. Boy, I bet it hurt like heck.
And, I imagine it was a year after this doctor that saw him at the emergency room said, he says, I thought that kid had a fracture there that would have caused him to have, to go in and set it, we would have had to, it would have deteriorated our, the nerves on that side of his face, and he would never,
Close.
it wouldn't have,
It's closer, but it didn't happen.
didn't happen.
Well, I
But whenever I mention this to Mike, Mike says, oh, I didn't either. Now, he don't remember it.
Play catcher or get hit in the
Playing
eye?
catcher. You don't remember that,
Is that right?
and
I don't particularly remember it. I remember me playing baseball. I can't hardly remember Steve and Mike, I guess.
you know,
I'm sure they did.